It just started raining. Very lightly. I mean, nobody thought anything about it. And it rained the second day. Again, no big deal. Just a little rain. No flooding, no thunderstorm, just a little rain. There was some heavy rain now and then, but nothing we really haven't seen before. At first, it was kind of nice. The ground was soaked, the grass was green. It was very beautiful here after such a long, hot summer. But this went on for 6 weeks. Then it happened. The runoff from all the rain churned up the water in the rivers upstream and increased the turbidity, the cloudiness, to an unsafe level. Austin Water issued a boil notice. Again, not really panicking, but I went to my local warehouse store to pick up some bottled water for the babies. They were completely sold out. I went to another warehouse store a little further north, and I saw people exiting the store with pallets of water. It was amazing the level of panic that had set in such a short period of time. I drove 30 miles north to get some water. By that time, I was angry at having to drive so far, so I filled up my truck with cases of water. A prepper. The city of Austin turned me into a prepper. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Hi, welcome to Can I Spader Christmas. Happy New Year! I hope your holiday was joyous and festive. Ours was pretty low-key. I did get to chill with the family a little bit, and that was always, it's always fun to get together with family. The dogs got new toys. They were, of course, thrilled about that. The comments on the last video were awesome. Thanks for coming through on that. Many of you added pixels to your display this year for the first time, or first time using pixels, or you just created a whole display out of pixels. Some of you are working on your first pixel display for next year, so all that's awesome. It's great having new people join the hobby every year. It's always a lot of fun. I've been thinking about some of my stuff and have at least one solution that I'm going to try on the wall washer. As far as the sticks are concerned, I'm not really sure what I'm going to do about that yet. But it'll be fun to play with. I don't know if I'm ever going to get that wall washer to a point where I really like it, but 12th time's the charm, maybe. So, plenty to do this year, and I will take you through all that as I get to it. For those that have been in the hobby for a while, at the beginning of the year, the season is over. Most of us take a little time to reflect, plan out what we're going to work on for the year, and depending on the amount of work, maybe take a little time off until like Christmas Expo in July or something. Based on the amount of work that I need to do, probably not going to get a chance to do that. However, I also like to work on non-lighting projects, and I don't always share them. Because really, who wants to see a video of me vacuuming? Okay, who am I kidding? That would be awesome. All right, so not a vacuuming video, but something that you might be interested in. And you might think that after the intro that you saw, I'm looking to build some kind of water treatment system. No. About 6 months ago, I saw a video from a guy talking about building a DIY Powerwall out of 18650 lithium ion cells, kind of like this. So it's 18 millimeters wide and 65 millimeters long. The Powerwall idea was made popular by Tesla. In case you don't know anything about, batteries in Tesla automobiles, they're large battery packs made up of thousands of these little cells. What they'll do is they'll put a bunch of these together to make a battery pack, and then they'll take a bunch of those packs and make a little sled. So basically the whole bottom of the car is just thousands of these little things put together. They also came out with what's called a Tesla Powerwall. It's designed to be mounted to the side of your house, charged with solar cells or grid power, in kind of a peak shaving scenario. So charging it when prices are lower, and you use the battery when prices are higher. If that's how you're billed for electricity from the power company in your area. It could also provide power in the unlikely event of a power outage. Now, the videos from this person just mysteriously stopped before his project was completed, but I searched and found several other people talking about the same thing, and I will leave links to all these people below. I'll leave them in alphabetical order. But the main channels that I watched were Average Joe or Average Joe. I'm not really sure. He didn't really seem like he was filled with rage, so I'm not really sure what that's about. Bruno Power. And if you see any of his videos, you'll understand where that comes from. DIY Tech and Repairs, Jehu Garcia, and HB Powerwall. Now, there are others. Lithium Solar comes to mind. He's starting to produce a bunch of videos. And I apologize for not giving everybody a shout out if you do this. Now, those 5 that I mentioned earlier are basically what taught me most of what I've learned about this, and you should check them out if this is a topic that interests you. A power wall can be really any size you want. It just depends on what you want it for. If you want to run a light or two or charge your cell phone, you can probably get by with a pretty small one. If you are providing power for a 15,000 square foot home, it's going to be a lot larger. So what's the project? All right, so I have this Honda EU 2000i portable generator. I've used it for portable power once. I had to I needed power somewhere where power was not available. I used it for that. I also used it for emergency power when we had an extended power outage. Again, that was one time. Now I've had this probably, I don't know, a couple of years, but I hardly ever get to use it. So why keep it? Well, it does get a little warm here in the summer, and a nice warm Texas evening is a horrible time to have a transformer near you explode, or more likely in the summer, the power line sags due to all the current draw, touches a tree, grounds out, blows a fuse somewhere, and so everybody in that area is out of power. They try to keep things trimmed, but that doesn't happen often, but when it does, it can be very uncomfortable. So I got this to power a fan, a light, the refrigerator. You don't want to lose all the stuff in the refrigerator. It is a 1.6 kVA, 2 kVA max generator. It should run for about 8 hours on a full tank. I'm going to test that. But that was the original project, to replace the electrical generating capacity of this generator, because in a power outage situation, I really can't run this if it is in the middle of the night, because even though it's a quiet generator, it still makes a lot of noise. And so if everybody else around me doesn't have power, their windows are going to be open, and they might get a little miffed at me running a generator in the middle of the night. So that was the justification for building a power wall. Plus, I just think it's kind of cool. A power wall is basically silent. I mean, fans on the inverter, but it doesn't make any noise. Now, okay, so what's the catch? Well, the battery. 1600 watts for 8 hours is going to be a decent sized battery. I'll explain more about battery sizing in just a minute. So this project will get me part of the way there, really just give me a better idea of how all this stuff fits together. The nice thing about this approach is that the system is expandable. If I want to add more battery capacity later on, I can do that. It could also end in catastrophic failure, so either way, it should be good video. All right, so what is a system? Well, the battery provides the electrical energy called direct current, or DC. Most things in your home run off of AC, or alternating current. An inverter is a device that converts DC to AC. So I could still run my refrigerator off the battery pack, through the inverter if there was a power outage. Now, when you run the inverter, the batteries start to drain. So if you let it go too long, they die. You don't have any more power. So you have to charge them back up. You need a battery charger. So where does the battery charger get its energy to charge the batteries? One of several different places. You can use grid power if you have power at your wall. You can use a generator, assuming you have plenty of gas and the noise isn't a problem. You can use solar panels, assuming the sun is shining where you are. Or you can hook up some generator to a bicycle and pedal that, get the cardio benefits while you're charging your battery. Or you can use some combination of those. There's also wind power if you have wind in your area. And there are others, but those are the main ones that people use. Traditionally, people have used some form of lead acid batteries in their systems like these. They're big, they're heavy, they can generate explosive hydrogen gas, although progress has been made to reduce that danger. Aren't lithium-ion batteries dangerous and tend to catch fire or explode? Pure lithium reacts instantly with water, and it can even react with moisture in the air. The lithium in lithium-ion batteries is mixed with something so that it is less reactive. Lithium cobalt oxide is a common chemistry used in electronics. It has a very high energy density, but does present some safety risk, especially when the batteries are damaged or they're overcharged. Lithium iron phosphate is a different chemistry, a different kind of lithium battery. It has less energy density, meaning you would need a larger battery to produce the same amount of energy. They can live a little longer, they are a little bit more stable, but we're going with the first one. Now, as to the safety of the batteries themselves, a battery just sitting on the shelf sits there, stored properly, no problem. Like anything dealing with electricity, used safely, they can do remarkable things. Abused, they can do remarkably bad things. It's called thermal runaway, or heating up to the point of creating a highly exothermic reaction. So you don't want to drop these in a fire or puncture them or overcharge them. Search YouTube for lithium battery explosion compilation and watch somebody else do it, because I really don't want to do it here. Joining multiple cells together is not a new idea. This portable drill has a battery. There's several cells inside here joined together. If you have a portable computer, you may have a battery pack that has several little cells inside of it. It's not a new idea. Power walls are typically designed with large enough packs, so current flowing in and out of each individual cell is very, very small. They're also usually designed to be stationary, but I've seen people put them in large trucks, RVs, boats. In a DIY Powerwall, we can use recycled cells. Now, what does that mean? Well, when one of these packs dies, it's usually for one of a couple of reasons. Either one of the cells inside here goes bad, or the circuitry that's involved in making this pack goes bad, but the actual cells are just fine. I actually had that happen to a portable power pack that I had. It had 8 of these little cells in it, but it wouldn't seem to hold a charge. And when I ripped it open, pulled the cells out and tested them, the cells were fine. It was just the circuitry that had gone bad in that pack. So a lot of people try to get free or near free cells from people that come into contact with large quantities of batteries that would normally just send them to a recycler. We can crack open the case, remove the cells, process them, and find the good ones and put those in the Powerwall, which basically extends the useful life of these cells. Keeps them out of that huge pile on the deserted island they're currently being dumped on. Why is that? Well, a cell may be designed to deliver a high current for something like a power tool or something. As it ages, it can no longer deliver that high amount of current in a short amount of time. But it can deliver a much lower current over a longer period of time, which is exactly what we're doing with the Powerwall. Low current from each cell, but enough cells to produce a lot of current. Now, when I first started looking into this, the terminology seemed a little confusing. This is a lawnmower battery. You have a larger version in your car. It has 6 smaller cells inside. This is a battery, but it's a single cell. It doesn't have any, smaller cells inside of it. Now you can combine multiple cells to make a battery pack or just pack. So far, so good. Now you can also combine multiple packs. It's also called a pack or a bank. One pack of a larger pack is a cell or a pack or a cell pack. So let's review. This is a cell. This is a pack. This is a pack or a bank. This is a cell, a pack, or a cell pack. Somebody leave a comment and help me out, will you? Similar to Christmas light displays, DIY Powerwalls are like snowflakes. No two are the same, and that's okay. Your battery is based on your needs. My battery is based on my needs. And we can change the design as needed if the need changes. This is a cell holder. You can get them off Amazon or AliExpress or Keith's eBay store linked below, or you could probably print them if you have a 3D printer. So this will hold 20 cells. So the idea is to put 20 cells between 2 of them and connect them up, and you have a battery that looks something like this. Now these cells are fully charged at 4.2 volts, and they're considered dead at about 3 volts, with 3.7 volts being the nominal or midpoint. Now, if you look carefully, I have put all of these cells facing the same way. In other words, all these are the positive side. This is the negative side of all these cells. Now this is not connected up, and I have it tie wrapped just to kind of hold them in there so it doesn't fall apart while I'm doing this on camera. But we have all the positive sides over here, all the negative sides over here. It's called putting them together in parallel. So it's 20 cells, but it would still, connected up, would only be 3.7 volts nominally. If you want more capacity, you want the battery to last longer, you add more cells in parallel. This is a pack of 80 cells in parallel. Still 3.7 volts, but it's got 4 times the capacity of these 20 cells, assuming all the cells were exactly the same. If you put batteries in series, positive to negative, that increases the voltage. So 2 cells stacked like this provides 7.4 volts, but it's the capacity of a single cell. So stacked in series, voltage increases, but capacity remains the same. In parallel, the capacity increases, but the voltage remains the same. For this project, I'm affectionately referring to the entire battery pack as Baby Pack 1. It's not going to be large enough to replace the capacity of the generator, but it will be big enough to be effective. I have a 24 volt inverter. Popular inverter voltages are going to be 12 volts, 24 volts, and 48 volts. There may be others, but those are the most popular ones you'll see if you go search for one. As I said before, these cells have a nominal voltage of 3.7 volts. Here's a table. So 1 is 3.7, 2 is 7.4, 3 is 11.1, on and up. So I need 7 cells in series to get up to the voltage that the inverter needs to work. The theoretical range is going to be 3 to 4.2 volts per cell. So that would be 21 to 29.4, and that's within the input range of the inverter. The low end is about 23, so it may shut off before we actually get everything down to 3 volts. There may also be some cells that don't want to go all the way to 4.2 volts. There may be also some cells that give up before they hit 3 volts. So I'm going to set the range to 3.2 to up to about 4 volts. We'll see if we can play with those a little bit, but that's what I'm going to start with. So that'll be 22.4 to 28 volts. So that was the easy part. Voltage, how many do you need to get up to the point where your inverter works? Now I need to figure out the other part, which is how many cells in parallel do I need? And before I do that, I need to figure out what the anticipated load is going to be. What do I want to run off this system? A refrigerator, a table saw, a clothes washer, a TV, a light bulb. The possibilities are endless, and they're going to be unique for each situation. Now, Now, this is a device called a kilowatt. It's available from Amazon, link in description. There are similar devices available if you are outside the US. But basically what you do is you plug the device into the wall, and then you plug whatever you're trying to measure into that device. It shows the voltage at the outlet and the amps or watts used by the device. If you have several devices you want to run off the battery, you want to do that for each one. Write down the amps used by each device and you add them up. This is your anticipated load. To simplify the math, let's just say I measure all the devices that I want and it comes up to 10 amps exactly. Now, how long do I want to run that? Is it going to be 15 minutes? Is it going to be an hour, 8 hours, a full day? The longer the time, the bigger the battery you're going to need to provide that amount of power. First, I calculate total watts. In the US, the typical wall voltage is 120 volts. It may be 220 to 240 where you are, but for me, I have my 10 amp load times 120 volts, so that's 1200 watts. And let's say I want to be able to run that load for 8 hours. So 1200 watts times 8 hours is 9600 watt hours. I need to convert AC watt hours into DC amp hours. I have a 24 volt inverter. 3.7 volts is the nominal cell voltage, and I need to stack 7 together to get over to the 24 volts. So 3.7 times 7 is 25.9 volts. 96 watt hours divided by 25.9 volts is 370.65637065664 amp hours. I'd probably create a spreadsheet for this, but I'm showing my work here so that you can do this yourself. These cells are typically rated in milliamp hours. Let's say this is a 2600 milliamp hour cell. Divide by 1000 to get 2.6 amp hours. To get the number of cells needed, we divide the total amp hours needed by the amp hour rating on the cell. So 370.65637065664 divided by 2.6 is 142.5601425602 cells. So I need a 7S, 7 in series, 142.5601425602P battery. Obviously, I can't have partial cells, so I'll pick something that fits with what I'm building. I'm using these little 20 cell holders. You can stack them together. So 140 fits evenly, but that is slightly less than the capacity I need. If I need to go over that, 160. So I need 160 cells in parallel to deliver enough energy for my 1200 watt load for 8 hours. That's called a 7S 160P pack, or 1,120 cells. I have about half that. So I'm building a 7S 80p pack, and I should be able to run that 10 amp load for about 4 hours, or I could run less stuff for longer. It's a balancing act, but that's how you determine the size battery you need for a given load. No, I will not calculate this for you. You must do your own math homework. For safety, the Powerwall will not be housed inside my house. It will be out here in the shed. At least initially, it won't be used or charged unsupervised. Now, once some monitoring and automation are added, that may change, but we'll talk more about that later. This is really just an experiment to test the feasibility of such a system, so I won't be running it all the time. Okay, that's the project. It's actually going to be a series of videos stepping through the entire process of building the system. For one, there's just too much information to get across in one video. Where do you get different parts? What tools do you need? So really, this is just a project intro. Next, I'll go over where you get cells from, what you do with them when you get them, go through pack assembly, pack testing, pack monitoring, and on and on. So I'll put all this into a playlist, so if you come across this after I've done everything, you can binge watch everything. You'll need some popcorn. Some of this project is going to be very time consuming. So I'll be working on pixel projects at the same time. Busy year. Some ground rules going forward. No, I will not build or design a pack for you. I'm not trained or qualified to do that. And you really need to know this stuff yourself should you decide it's something that you want to pursue yourself. There's also legal and regulatory reasons. I just don't want to get involved in all that. So, no. So the standard disclaimer of do your own research before attempting to do anything you see in this video or series of videos. You should hire properly trained and certified personnel to perform these steps for you. I can in no way be held responsible for any damage or injury incurred by you or anyone else watching this video. It's for entertainment purposes only. It's all camera tricks and animation, totally devoid of reality. Don't do this yourself. But I hope you enjoy watching me go through this project. Finally, I'll create a page on my website that lists the YouTube channels and websites you need to check out, as well as links to the products that I'm using and tools and things like that. So be sure to check the description of this video for a link to that helpful information. Hit the subscribe button. It's free. It just puts this channel in your subscription list, so you don't have to search for it every time. Also, hit the little bell there. You'll get a notification when a new episode is released. I hope you found some of this information useful. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon. And all the dogs are